So I will now ask, who gives Laura to be married to Nick?
I.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, let's take a seat.
I pledge that from this day I will love, cherish and respect you always. I promise to be your ally in conflict, your comrade in adventure and your accomplice in mischief. But most of all, I promise to be a true and loyal friend to you for as long as my heart keeps beating. I love you.
I promise that from this day I will love you, support and encourage you, be faithful to you and continually work with you to build a life surpassing anything either of us could imagine alone. I promise to listen to you, even when I get distracted by pretty things. Learn from you. You're my best friend. You make my world better just by being in it. I promise to be your devoted wife all of the days of my life. Nearly.
That was lovely. Thank you. What are we doing now? Oh, now we're going to have our reading from Adeline. Adeline.
This is a reading which is entitled The One. The author is unknown. When the one whose hand you are holding is the one who holds your heart, when the one whose eyes you gaze into gives your hope and dreams their start, when the one you think of first and last is the one who holds you tight, and the things you plan together make the whole world seem just right, when the ones whom you believe in put their faith and trust in you, you found the one and only love you'll share your whole life through.
That's lovely, thank you. So, can you have those rings,
Laura, I give you this ring
as a sign of our love and marriage,
as a sign of our love and marriage,
and as an outward sign
and as an outward sign
of the commitment we have made to each other.
of the commitment we have made to each other.
That's lovely.
Nick, I give you this ring
As a sign of our love and marriage,
as a sign of our love and marriage,
and as an outward sign
and as an outward sign
of the commitment we have made to each other.
of the commitment we have made to each other. Shall I go? Yeah.
The ring on his finger. That's great,
Sweat.
Nick. And now we're going to have our second reading. Lovely, thank you.
The Relationship Promise by Luke Wright. I promise, my darling, to be your best friend, to settle the quarrels before the day ends, to teach you new things and learn in return, halve debts, colds and baths, share laughs and concerns. I promise, my love, to be silly with you, to giggle in restaurants and cinema queues, the romance and humdrum, all blended to bliss, a life battle plan but sealed with a kiss. From school runs and housework to sweet pillow talk, from mortgage repayments to long country walks, a cuppa in bed when the morning begins, and then when it's over, I'll pour you a gin. I promise I'll seek to avoid nasty schisms. I know that at times we'll need 2 televisions. I love you so much that whenever we fight, I'll learn to repeat, I was wrong, you were right. I'll cook for you, darling, that's what love's about. A meal made from scratch is worth 100 out. I'll shield you from worries that swing overhead. I promise I'll try to be awesome in bed. I promise, my darling, I'll give you your space. When you're on the loo, dear, I'll spare you my face. But know that I'll be there when your spirit sinks, to match you for messiness, cuddles and drinks. I love you, my darling, so let's live together, stack days into decades to make our forever.
Marriage is a commitment to life in which people can find and bring out the best in each other. It offers opportunities for sharing and growth that no other relationship can equal. When 2 people pledge to love and care for each other in marriage, they create a spirit unique to themselves. which binds them closer than any spoken or written word. Marriage is a promise which you have both taken and has been made in the hearts of two people who clearly love one another very much. It is my privilege and pleasure to declare that you are now husband and wife together. Would you like to kiss each other? With Nick on the right hand side.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of our official duties. So, in the time-honoured tradition, please make way for our new Mr. and Mrs. Howard.
Tom's filming us right now.
Hey, I like your
Highly appropriate.
Hello. Oh, God.
And it was all very messy anyway. Yeah. It's forced now.
I know. Let's make it really forced.
Might as well 12.
Throw it up! Kiss! Kiss!
Not down my neck now.
Kiss! Kiss now! Kiss!
Enjoy it!
bellies and inebriation levels are steadily increasing. Yes? It's time for the speeches. It's now my very great pleasure to introduce to you the father of the bride, Air Commodore Mike Barnes.
It's absolutely wonderful to have such a fan group. Thank you very much. For those who haven't listened to my speeches before, I apologise. If you feel as though you need to sleep, carry on. Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For those whom I have not yet met, and I don't think there are too many, I'm Mike, and I have the undoubted honour to be the father of our beautiful bride. It seems as though my main role this afternoon is to be a bit of a warm-up act for the undoubtedly eloquent speeches which will follow. No pressure on the best men then. Now I'd like to start by, of course, welcoming you to this wonderful occasion, the wedding of Laura and Nick. A particular welcome to Nick's family. It's been a great pleasure this week getting to know them, and now those who don't speak French, and indeed those who do speak French, may not understand what I'm about to say. So, bienvenue à notre nouveau français membre de la famille et les amis. C'est un grand plaisir de vous accueillir pour cette journée spéciale. Yes. Nick will pick me up on several grammatical mistakes.
As is my duty, Mike.
As is your duty. A special welcome to those who have travelled long and far. Indeed, some have travelled from the other side of the world. Welcome Ray and Maureen from New Zealand. But as well as welcoming you, this is also an opportunity for me to indulge myself and reflect on many years of happiness that Sandy and I have enjoyed with our lovely daughter Laura. There are so many stories and anecdotes that I'd like to share with you, but I shall resist the temptation to bang on for too long. However, it would be remiss of me not to give you an insight into Laura's earlier years.
Come on.
So starting at the beginning, Laura arrived 2 weeks late and hasn't been on time since. I can remember with exceptional pride the day that Laura was born, but I was somewhat dismayed with her initial appearance. That is, of course, until the nurse turned her the right way up. From a very early age, Sandy and I knew that we'd have our hands full. Excursions round the garden in her baby stroller led Laura to defoliating our rather splendid flower borders. Even Laura's first stage appearance was not without some difficulty. As the angel Gabriel at nursery school, she was getting somewhat bored, just standing there looking angel-like. So she decided to step back, go around a queue of other angels, and start tugging at them, thereby creating a cacophony of unexpected animation. Laura was, of course, delighted when Tom arrived. She had her own live toy. Poor Tom. He ended up being dressed up in all sorts of things. One particular favourite of mine was that rather nice woolen hat, that rather splendid dress, and carrying that handbag. some might say that Laura is determined. Well, this was clearly evidenced at primary school when Laura, aged about 6, I should imagine, a teacher of hers was called out in the middle of the class and the children were asked to sit quietly and behave. Laura decided that she should take over the class and proceeded to sit in teacher's chair and improvise with a rather unusual story until the teacher returned. Laura attended a number of primary schools. Not, I hasten to add, as a result of exclusion, but because of our somewhat nomadic lifestyle. I remember with great fondness a year spent in Australia where Laura matured beyond belief. She was really besotted with Australia and wanted to stay, so I had to bribe her to come away and return home with us with a holiday, and we came back via Hawaii and Disney and Orlando. Then sadly, back to reality, and Laura went to board at Bromsgrove. Probably not the happiest years of Laura's, or indeed Sandy and my lives, from a family perspective. However, it was during this period that I used to take the children backpacking on summer holidays. Halcyon days of fun that with the children, which I remember with the utmost joy. Lunch was generally taken at a hostelry, where Laura would always opt for the prawn sandwiches. I remember a particularly tricky occasion, however, when we arrived at the Tan Hill pub in the middle of the Yorkshire Dales. Now, we'd had a reasonably arduous walk in the morning, and we were all looking forward to a lunch. Unfortunately, I had forgotten to top up with cash and only had £10 to last us for 3 days. I broke the bad news to Laura and Tom and told them that a drink and a bag of crisps was all they were going to get for lunch. As I was ordering this sumptuous feast, the children sat outside. But by the time I'd reappeared, Laura had negotiated £20 from an elderly couple who had undoubtedly been subjected to Laura's charms. Clearly, I returned the money to these poor old pensioners, much to Laura's frustration. Her love of art and creativity flourished at school. I might add, as a proud father, she was pretty bright in other more traditional subjects as well. Following A-levels, she completed an art foundation course in Winchester under the caring eye of her auntie Maureen and 3 cousins. She then went on to university at Nottingham, completing an honours degree in textile design, and at this stage met Nick for the first time. That was some years ago, and here they are today, the lovely couple. Following graduation, she forewent a gap year and was recruited into the fashion industry as a trainee buyer with Next. Within a relatively short period, she was headhunted for a super job as a junior buyer for Peruna. Being somewhat quirky and independent, she purchased her first narrowboat. I'm pleased to report that she did spend most of the time on board, but there were occasions when she went for a swim. After a number of years, Laura decided that the fashion industry was not for her and decided to take a break. Now, in her formative years, Laura had the opportunity of travelling with Sandy and I to such exotic locations as the Falkland Islands and, of course, places like Australia. And, of course, enjoy many a happy skiing holiday in Austria and France. Laura continued with her wanderlust and decided to go on a belated backpacking holiday to the Far East. Fiercely independent, she travelled far and wide on a very restricted budget, having an incredible experience. But, Laura being Laura, her travels were somewhat delayed due to a rather nasty infection caused by a coral scrape when she was completing her paddy diving course in in Thailand. Thankfully, Joe and Akira sprang to the rescue while Laura was visiting them in Taiwan, and they took Laura to hospital. Not a day too early, as Laura could well have lost her foot. So many thanks to Joe and Akira, without whom Laura might well have been hopping down the aisle. I could not personally resist going out to visit her, and there aren't too many fathers that can say they've crawled down the coochie tunnels with their daughter. Now, as you can imagine, Sandy and I are immensely proud of our daughter. Her achievements in life are considerable. Scholastically, she's accomplished and has become a star in the workplace, particularly in her latest career choice. And we are starting to come to the end. Any weary eyes yet? There might be some down in the corner. Sandy and I are absolutely delighted to welcome Nick to the family. As Mark Twain once remarked, in Paris, they simply stared at me when I spoke to them in French. I never did succeed in making them understand their own language. I sensed a similar reaction from Nick in my short outburst earlier. I promise not to subject Nick to any further outbursts of French. Traditionally, the bride's father offers the groom some advice. Judging from the experiences on the golf course I've had with Nick, he won't take much heed of my advice. His clubhead speed still approaches the speed of sound on every string of the golf, no matter how many times I've asked him to slow it all down, Nick. But just remember, Nick, there is no challenge in married life that cannot be overcome by one or more of the following statements. Okay, I was wrong. Or, you were right. Or, yes, dear. Now that one can be used in so many ways. But most important, okay, love, just go ahead and buy it. Now there is a saying which goes something like this. Happy marriages begin when we marry the one we love, and they blossom when we love the one we marry. Bear that in mind and carry it with you throughout your married life. So Laura and Nick, may your marriage be full of love and happiness, and may you have a long and wonderful life together. Ladies and gentlemen, please charge your glasses and drink a toast with me. May our bride and groom have a long life of health and happiness. To Laura and Nick. To Laura.
Okay, wakey wakey.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the groom, Nick Howell.
Hey. Thank you very much. Before I start, I'd like to say a big thank you to Air Commodore Mike Barnes, RF retired, for his kind words, for not embarrassing Laura too much, and I can't stress this more, but most importantly, for allowing a Frenchman to talk on behalf of his daughter. And can I just say, I can't imagine that 31 years ago when your beautiful daughter was born, you imagine this happening. Okay, on behalf of my wife and I, I'm really nervous about that bit, but I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all so much for being here with us today. We truly appreciate you all missing the X Factor today. Some people more than others. And I think Laura would agree with me when we are truly humbled to have so many people that we love under the roof of us here today, so thank you. And actually, can I just say, we have people from very far and exotic places with us today. We have Ukraine, Taiwan, New Zealand, Sheffield. But unfortunately, it's not been possible to have everyone that we love with us under the roof today. And actually, with them in mind, I'd be grateful if you could all raise your glasses, please, and join me in toasting to absent family and friends. Now, actually, before I go any further, can I just say what an absolutely fantastic job that both Sandy and Laura have done with the decoration and the general detail of this wedding today. I'd love to take credit for this, but anyone that knows me knows I had to go on YouTube to know how to wrap a present properly. So, a little round of applause. I did a budget, right? Okay. Now let me tell you a little story. 35 years ago, an amazing, beautiful woman living in France gave birth to an exceptional son with fantastic hair. Now, like all good blockbuster films, only half of this story is true. But the amazing, beautiful woman is here with us today, and she has been a shining light, a beacon in my life to help me traverse the roller coaster that is life. And she, along with her wonderful husband, are the reason that I'm here today, standing in front of you all as a happy man married to the woman of my dreams. Laura and I feel incredibly lucky to have you both in our lives, and we look forward to the affection, well, we're thankful for the affection you have always shown and will always show us. So please raise your glasses to Adeline and Yuri. Thank you. Oh my God. This is going to be the trick bit. Okay. I'd now like to take this opportunity to show my deepest gratitude to the Barnes family. But welcome me into that fold, like as if I was a member of the family. Admittedly more like a distant foreign cousin with strange customs that is slightly embarrassed to bring out in public, but a family member nonetheless. In all seriousness, though. Sorry, I've lost myself. Yes, thank you, Mike, Sandy, Tom, and the rest of the clan. You've welcomed me into the family with open arms and put up with my compulsive requirement to correct your English grammar with a stiff upper lip. No mean feat, I assure you. Laura's parents have always been an example to her of the perfect marriage, and I can safely say that she's incredibly proud of her mum, Sandy, and her father, and her hero, Mike. And I also know that it makes her incredibly happy to know how easily I've been integrated into the family. And even if Mike did make me sweat a little bit when I got his hand in marriage, I'm actually really honoured to be part of the Barnes family. So I'd be grateful if you would all raise your glasses and join me saying, to Sandy and Mike.
Sandy and Mike.
Very well. And actually, as a token of our appreciation of the love, affection, and general support that we've had over the years, we have some small presents that we'd like to offer our parents. Whistle wet, right?
Is it 12 years old?
Right, stop the heckling, now, there's an unwritten rule at a wedding that no one should look as beautiful as the bride, or indeed as handsome as the groom. And I'm pleased to say that I've certainly had no competition for the groomsmen in that. Now, these four fine, yeah, right, don't put that in the speech. These four fine, outstanding citizens, no, I shouldn't laugh so much when I say that, have been responsible for many a laugh over the years, although I might suggest disproportionately so at my expense. So, highlights with these fine gentlemen include such gems as dressing Nick as a very questionable woman, mustache appreciation evening, tequila Scrabble, and more evenings at the Board than I care or even can remember. Gentlemen, Laura and I are incredibly proud to have you by our sides on this special day. Thank you for the years of laughs. Here's to many more. Please please, a toast to the grooming. Yeah, progressively more drunk as the speeches go. Our beautiful bridesmaid this evening is Tad. I personally, I've had the pleasure of knowing Tad for the last couple of years, and I would say that her relationship with Laura is, well, she's her muse. She inspires her creatively, but she's also there can be relied upon to lift her mood, listen and provide great counsel. And you could say a big sister. Her positive outlook on life and her great warmth is admired by us both. And I know that Laura looks back with great fondness of her time living on the marina with Tad and sharing a bottle of 2 of vino on Daisy. And Daisy's a boat, before anyone can see. Tad, thank you so much for the support you've always provided. We both look forward to sharing many adventures with both you and Billy over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses to Tad. Lastly, but certainly not least, wifey. Laura, for the last 11 years I've been honoured to be your friend. For the last 2 years I've been lucky to be your boyfriend. And now for the last 4 hours. For the last 4 hours, I'm incredibly proud to be your husband. I'm going to go back to my speech. You say you should marry your best friend, and I think I've achieved that and then some. But more than that, I'm now married to the most beautiful, compassionate person that I know. Laura, you make each day an adventure, you drive me to be successful, and you crack me up with your ridiculousness. Thank you for being here. I promise I will do everything that I can to make the world the safe, exciting, and rewarding place that you deserve it to be. I love you so much. Everyone, please raise your glasses to the beautiful bride. The beautiful bride. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the best double act since Morecambe and Wise, apparently, is Mark and Bryn. Give it up!
Good afternoon, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and of course the bride and groom. Before we undertake the customary duty of giving Nick an uncomfortable few minutes, it's part of our official duty for all the best men to thank Nick on behalf of the bridesmaid Tad for his kind words and for having a play. Having a play?
Having a play.
A momentous. No, that's not right. For his kind words for having a play such a special part in this momentous occasion. Thank you, everybody. So, I have to say, Tad, you look wonderful today, and you've done an excellent job, only outdone by Laura herself, who I'm sure you all agree looks stunning today.
For those of you who don't know us, my name is Bryn, would you like a drink? And this is Mark, what can I get you? So, if you see us at the bar, we kindly ask for you to address us by our full names. We hope you're all enjoying what's been a brilliant day, but unfortunately every silver lining has a cloud. Here we are.
Both Bryn and I have agreed to say a few words today, and we promise to keep it brief. Anyway, we're caring for our throats. Because if we go on for too long, Laura has threatened to cut them. First of all, let's be nice. Bryn, can you assist the happy couple? Nick and Laura, may I ask you to both keep your hands in this position till the end of the speech. Believe me, Nick, you will not regret it. So it's traditional for us to thank a few special people today, and it's worth mentioning again, Laura, you look fabulous. Nick is one very lucky man. And quite surprisingly, Nick scrubbed up quite well himself, even though he did copy our outfits pretty
But in all seriousness, it is a great honour to be chosen as Nick's best man. As an only child, he's always been a bit greedy. Usually it's with his food, but on this occasion it's his men. It's not for the first time though, is it? I mean, I wouldn't like to say Nick is camp, but nearly every photo I have, he's pouting like a dreary model. Or as he likes to call it, blue steel. But that said, his last boyfriend assures me he's all.
Let us not forget the groomsmen for the day. Etienne and Lee, I know that Nick was especially concerned for the pair. They might have been, or they might not have been, up to such an important task. However, after weeks of practicing and a slight bout of repetitive strain disorder, I'm sure you'll all agree they more than excelled themselves at pointing out your chairs today.
I would also like to take this opportunity to personally say a big thank you to Etienne and Lee. It was a stipulation for the wedding that the groomsmen were not allowed to look better than the best men. And I'm very pleased to say you have more than kept up to your ends of the back.
We would also like to thank both sets of parents. Adeline and Yuri, Mike and Sandy, you have shown great support to the happy couple in the build-up to this very special day. I know Nick and Laura appreciate you all being here to share in their special day, and some have travelled long distances to be here. So thanks for being part of a wonderful occasion. It is truly amazing how far people will travel for a free meal and a couple of drinks.
So when Nick asked us to be his best men, naturally we had questions. What had we done to deserve such an honour? Who had dropped out? Were we really the best he could come up with? And more importantly, could we turn the job down and still expect an invitation to stuff ourselves and get drunk at his expense?
In the end, having accepted the role, I'm pretty happy, and I'm sure Bryn is, with the way things have gone today. From a best man's perspective, everything has gone very smoothly. An achievement which shouldn't be underestimated. And most importantly, in this time of economic uncertainty, we successfully resisted the urge to sell the wedding rings to cash for gold and do a run up for the So Nick apparently is quite equal. He told me earlier, we've done that good a job, we've got the gig for his next wedding.
After accepting the role, we went and purchased a book to look up our required duties would be on the day. And this is what we found. Number 1, bring our credit cards for those payments that the groom may have forgotten. Well, knowing Nick's famous financial management of old, we had to take drastic measures and we both remortgaged our houses.
Number 2, on the night before the wedding, make sure the groom is well looked after and gets a good night's sleep. Well, I'm proud to be able to report that Nick slept like a baby last night. After about 4.5 hours sleep, waking every 30 minutes crying for his mummy.
Number 3, help the groom dress. It's a tricky one, this. You would have thought that a man of 35 years would be able to accomplish this relatively simple task himself. But after half an hour's struggle, I think you've decided we've done a good job.
Number 4, ensure the groom uses the toilet. I have to admit a slight relinquish of duty there, so thank you very much for looking after him, Bryn.
Number 5, has his face and hair in order? Well, look, we did our best. We've got very little to work with.
Number 6, bring a medical bag with the following items for emergencies. Aspirin, antacid, deodorant and Valium. Well, apologies, Bryn and I both polished off the Valium just before this.
So Nick, now we've looked back over the required duties. Shouldn't your mum have been the best man?
Of course, there is no doubt that marriage is a wonderful thing. It's supposed to be pure and simple. And that is what we have today. Laura is pure.
Another key part of our best man duties was for us to organise the stag on one last big lads night out for Nick. After months of planning, checking against Laura's diary, we decided to descend upon beautiful Torquay. Unfortunately, we had one of the best weekends of the summer. The weather was pretty good too.
The stag weekend was a great event. However, what happens on the stag stays on the stag. And the cardinal rule means we can't tell you too much other than we had a great time. Can Team Torquay please stand up?
Come on, guys.
Team Torquay.
But for those of you that are very curious, for those of you, please feel free to ask Nick about the following topics. I'll move this out of the way. Swimming in fountains. Slow motion Baywatch running.
Assume a position!
Now, because Nick missed out on many of the forfeits on stag, there's one shot to make up for it. That's back there.
Yeah. As well as that, there was Mr. Methane, Union Jack, Ginger Pubes, and Woo Woos. Ask him about it later on. But after all the struggles and sequins, we managed to return Nick and Laura. If only a little cut and bruised.
Now, we're probably in a better position than most to pay tribute to the groom. After all, we've been very good friends for many years. We're proud to be his friend, and he's almost like a brother to us. There's nothing he wouldn't do for... there's nothing we wouldn't do for him. And I know there is nothing Nick wouldn't do for us. In fact, we're like three brothers who do nothing for each other.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we've been asked here today to praise Nick, not to bury him. Mind you, I must say the boat was very close.
In all seriousness, Nick, we're both so happy and proud to see you sat here today, married to the love of your life. You are truly one of our best friends. You're considerate, kind, and thoughtful. We've both enjoyed the time we've had together. Another tradition.
Words must have up there, surely.
Another tradition is for us to give some marriage advice. And as I'm the only one with that experience, I've been nominated to give you some counsel. So, I'll give you the same advice I got on my wedding day. Nick, whenever you're in the wrong, admit it. Whenever you're in the right, just shut up. Now, have you still got your hands together? Yeah.
One final tradition is for us to read out messages from any guests that couldn't be with us today. We did ask the happy couple if there are any loved ones that couldn't be here today, and they quite modestly asked for us to refrain from this tradition. But I'm afraid to say there was one very special couple that couldn't be with us today.
No?
They've sent you all a very thoughtful token of their appreciation. They truly regret they couldn't be here to celebrate this special occasion with you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you find some envelopes in front of you, please open them up. Of course, our very special couple is, of course, Nicola and Harry. Nick's alter ego and a very special friend, Harry.
Now, do you still have your hands together? Right, in case you're wondering why we've asked Nick to place his hand on top of Laura's, we'll tell you now. Nick, as our final role as your best man, it has been with great pleasure that we have been able to give you the last 5 minutes you'll ever have the upper hand over Laura.
And so, to bring this speech to an end, we'd like to wish Nick and Laura bon voyage as they go on their honeymoon to North Wales. I presume that's where you're going, because when I asked Nick what they're going to be doing after the wedding, he said he's going to Bangor for a couple of days.
Serious face. Serious face. Laura and Nick, may your love be modern enough to survive the times, but old enough to last forever. Ladies and gentlemen,
it gives us immense pleasure
to invite you all to be upstanding,
raise your glasses, and join us in a toast to the new Mr. and Mrs. Howell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Blade was flexing. Hey.
Kiss with the samurai sword. Awesome.
Take a swing. Go on, have a go. Top lot. Straight.
Caroline, where's your chair? This game is called
Retrieve fast, recuperate rapidement. I am going to give you an item or a thing that you have to run out there and find. Whilst you are doing that, I will remove one of the chairs. The last person back is not a loser, they're a winner.
They're a winner.
So the first item that you need to get is, and it cannot be one of your own, alright? A lady's shoe. Go!
Fiona the winner! Hooray!
The second item that you have to collect is a belt. Go!
It's one of the best, but you do a good job there.
You get to take Laura and Nick to a firework display.
Hey, round of applause for Mark, the winner! Good, that's good. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Give it up and bring everybody!
A married person. Go!
You're a winner, and you get to take Happy Couple ice skating for the day. That's for the 4th month!
Wedding or engagement ring. Go!
You're a massive winner. Cook and Laura. Winner! Cook Laura and Nick a romantic candidate dinner on the 6th month. Congratulations! Tanya the winner! So the thing is, somebody who owns a dog. What did I say to him? You can't have him on the side of the way. Oh, right, I said, did you remove the chair?
Sorry, I've got some chair that's had me and I can sit down.
This is so unorganized, this room.
Everyone's a winner on this day. And you win more than others because you get to spend the weekend on Laura and Nick's spring cleaning in the house.
A member of the wedding party.
You get to take Laura and Nick out for afternoon tea to celebrate their 8th-month anniversary. And you get to spend the day helping them out in the garden to celebrate their 9th anniversary.
When I say go, not before, Rolf. A French person. 1, 2, 3, go!
Nick got covered in beer.
Oh, awesome! Oh, I'm a nice other
So Ellie, you get to take the happy couple out for a picnic in the park to celebrate their 10th anniversary.
Congratulations! Is it doing well? Oh, you are wearing shoes. You're not very responsible. Seriously, you've been cheating your way to win this. Best cheater with.
So, the ultimate winner is the first person to bring back the bride or the groom.
Nobody got him. Everybody get their way. Oh, I should get rid of the chair. I should get rid of the chair. What is this stuff? Egg ride. Obviously not think that's a big ride.
So,
Caroline's a poor loser. There we go. So who's the winner?
Caroline, as runner-up, on their 12th-month anniversary, you get to call Laura and Nick and wish them a happy anniversary.
Just a phone call. That's
And
all.
Tom, as winner of the game, on their 11th anniversary, you get to be entertained
been waiting. I flipped you off. Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Right, ladies and gentlemen,
Sorry, I stopped doing that.
it's time for the first dance. Can we have the bride and groom onto the centre of the hall? Nick and Laura. Right, this is their special song. I'm probably all thinking, which is it going to be? What's it going to be? Probably one of their favourites.
Sorry.
Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Rain drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom in the trees, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Follows you back home. And I'm a street light shining. I'm a wild light blinding bright, burning off alone. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these we give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again.
It's times like these, time and time again. Oh, oh, oh. I'm a new day rising.
I'm a brand new sky to hang the stars upon tonight. I'm a little divided.
Do I stay or run away and leave it all behind?
I know it's times like these you learn to live again.
It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time and time again.
Let's go. It's times like these that we activate. Do something to improve, don't procrastinate. I've been cooking now, I make a wicked pasta plate. Stream games at 11, but I clap at 8. And I'll jiggle FaceTime if you tempt me. Time to pay back all the health docs lent me. And for me, West 10's elementary. But right now, I wanna see Labrador go empty, you get me?
We'll make it better together, we'll make a better life. Because the pressure is ever upon us every night and every day. So we pray and we will forever fight. We'll make it better together, we'll make a better life. I'm a one-way motorway. I'm the one that drives away and follows you back home.
On the street lights shining, and while light playing bright, burning nothing up. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time and time again. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you learn to love again.
On the order of Mr. Howe, the delivery is complete. Oh, that's probably why I wanted you to do it me straight away. Oh, really? You should ruin my makeup. Oh, that's really sweet.
Are you going to give us rapping a mark out of 10, Laura?
Huh?
You're going to give us rapping a mark out of 10. How did he do?
I have noticed that he's given me Mr. and Mrs. Rapping Babe, although we're not Mr. and Mrs. yet. Although it's the day. He's bless her, he has taken time over the rapping as well. The little blue box, George.
Oh,
yes. Oh my goodness. Oh, bless him. That is stunning. Oh my goodness. I was not expecting that. He has been very brave. I love it.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful.
So you're going to have to borrow something else off me this morning.
All by himself. Well done. Well, starting as we mean to go on.
Show me.
Blue boxes, yes.
Show me the bling, Laura. Yay.
He's done really, really well. Bless him.
Congratulations, Nick. You're still getting married today.
And the deal was that they each had a bullet, and it was for each other.
Wow.
And yeah. And obviously he survived, and he came out and he said that, you know, had he had to use it, he wouldn't be here walking me down the aisle.
And that's the one.
Really, really special. It's very special to Dad, so that means
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry again because I've started wearing makeup, so I'm not allowed to tell that story. So
Okay.
no more bullet stories. Yeah, it's beautiful.